Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kavinsky's Tutorials. And today I'm looking at Yukawa, which is a really nice delay, a filter delay. You don't have to have the filter if you don't want to, by iCgear. And when you open it up, it might look like something like this. But when you size it a bit bigger, you're going to get this lovely routing section in here. Let's look very quickly first at the way things are laid out. Then I'll let you hear it on some presets, and then I'll do a detailed walkthrough of how to use the app. So first of all, we have the stereo delay section up here. We have the filter section here, and the sequence delay is here. So this sequence delay is really cool. Basically, we can adjust the number of taps that we have here, and we can turn individual taps on or off by tapping. And then the really cool thing is we have individual control over the level, the pan, the cutoff, and resonance of each of these steps. That's really cool. Now this section here, is this complicated or not? Well, you know, I've had to abandon this tutorial a few times already because I messed up trying to describe this. So it's sort of getting a bit clearer to me. I'll have a stab at it, yeah. It's just that each time I've had some maybe unexpected behavior, and then I realized it was because there was something that I hadn't understood properly. So, you know, I learn a lot by doing these tutorials as well. Anyway, I think I kind of understand this well enough to have a stab at it. This is actually very cool, this section. This section is pretty much where we'll determine exactly how the stereo delay and the sequence delay go through the filters or don't go through the filters, and the proportions they will be in. We can also do a kind of cross feedback between the stereo delay and the sequence delay. And we use these arrows here. All there is really in the manual about this is just a picture that I didn't find helped to understand it at all. I had to do a lot of experimentation before I kind of finally understood. This was the part that confused me really. I didn't really understand that this was doing a kind of cross delay between these two. It's obvious enough to me now, but didn't really get it properly earlier. Okay, stereo delay part has ping-pong. We've got an LFO to modulate the delay time, separate delay times for left and right. This damp helps give us control over the high and low frequencies in the delay. We have noise. We can add pink noise, white noise, and filter section here. Sounds really nice. We can use drive to get a bit of a more overdriven sound. Resonance, okay, these obvious filter things. We can sync it or not. So first I'm just going to let you hear it on some sounds. I'm going to use noise, and then I'll go through and explain in more detail. So, dry sound. Now through the delay. Like that. Nice bit of filter action going on there. Dry, wet. Dry, wet. I really wish that noise had a search bar. This is stupid. Get a bit of a change of key here. Okay, now let me change this to something a bit more relaxing. Again, scrolling through these, my God. Good exercise for my fingers. Okay. All right, nice. So first, let's look at some things in more detail. So when you're trying to learn how to use this thing, you need to pay a lot of attention to the routing section. For example, I had to abandon earlier tutorial because what was I doing? I turned off some of these things, and yet I was still getting the stereo delay when I wasn't expecting to, things like that. So let's see. I'm going to play around with the routing here a little bit. So first I'm going to find something with a lot of stereo delay going on. Okay. So let's look at this routing section here. So we can control the high and low signals coming in. We can turn the whole delay effect off here. double tap to reset. Excuse me. Put the feedback up a little bit. Change this damp. I'm gonna just listen to the wet. Okay, so I've put the wet up full, brought the dry down. Now, we can see here, this is a level for the sequence delay, this is a level for the stereo delay. But here, the sequence delay is being sent up here. So we're getting a cross delay, the feedback. These delays, outputs are going into this one. So that is what can make it kind of hard to understand what's going on until you understand that's what that's doing. And so you can hear moving this arrow changes the sound somewhat. So here we're increasing the amount of the sequence delay that's being sent over. If I make this a bit longer, it'll be more noticeable. So this is going up here, and then these two are going over here. So here we're increasing the amount of the signal of those before they go into the filter. And then here they're going into the filter. And then here, this is the post-filter signal. And that's starting to clip a little bit. Right, so if you look at this, we get a lot of different ways that we can do things. What can make this a bit confusing is just all the different level buttons at all different stages. In some ways, it makes sense to try and understand this from the right side working back. So here, the wet input is going to be what's coming through the filters here, and then what is being processed without going through the filters. So we basically mainly think of this as two paths. One goes through the filter, the other one doesn't go through the filter. And then here we get the ability, as I say, to do some kind of cross feedback on the delays. And then here we then have the choice to send, for example, that stereo delay output, which again might include feedback from this, right? And then we can send it here straight to the filter, or we can send it down here and get the unfiltered one, and vice versa. So here we're getting the sequence delay, which may or may not have feedback from the stereo delay. Send it up here, it's going to go through the filters. Send it along here, it's not going to go through them. So with careful control of all the different levels, there's a lot of variety that can come in the sound. So when you're playing around with this and trying to learn how to use it, if you're not getting the effects that you're looking for, you maybe have to go down and see what's happening here. Depending on the preset you tweak, you might not be able to hear really much of what you're doing in the stereo delay section or the sequence delay or whatever. Another thing to pay attention to is the damp. So if damp is here, it's going to make the high frequencies in the delay fade out faster. If it's here, it's going to make the low frequencies fade out faster. So if you're not hearing what you're expecting, it's always worth taking a look at what the damp knob is doing. Okay, let's go through and experiment with some things. So again, I'm just going to use the wet for a while. So So it's always cool to be able to do separate things with the left and right delay times. And I love a modulated delay. Ping-pong on or off. You hear that damp making a very noticeable difference. High frequencies are lingering longer now. Here we're really taking out the low end. This is a very important control. White noise, pink noise, add some saturation to the delay signal, giving it a slightly distorted quality. When the filter is on the left side here, it's a low pass filter. Here it's a high pass filter. Right, we can hear the filter quite clearly here, so I'll leave it there. So filter depth, filter modulation depth, and the rate, synced or free. We can get a slowest time of 10 seconds here, or synced 32.4. So here adding drive to the filters. More distortion. We've got a Q control here. Let's look for one where there's a lot going on in the sequence delay. Looking here at the routing section. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's look at the routing section first and see what's happening. So, stereo delay is putting feedback into the sequence delay. Here we're controlling the level of that. And then that's going up here to be filtered. Okay, let's see. Let's activate more of these. Let's bring levels down. Play with the panning. Cutoff. Of course, so this one is not being triggered. See resonance. Again, the damp is very important. So you can experiment with kind of playing these in real time to sort of get rhythms and vary the rhythms. I'm in here just putting up the amount of sequence delay going into the stereo delay. Let's play with filter cutoff. So, pretty cool effect. Let's see what I like about this and if there's anything I don't like about it. So I like this ability here to get control over the delay times, because when you change delays in real time, unless you do it very incrementally, you get those noises, right, that we heard when we were switching between presets. So having this 50 millisecond knob here, for example, is really nice. it gives us a lot of control over those fast delay times. But we still have the problem that we don't really have that much control when it's up at 1 second. But I think the iGear synths, the knobs respond pretty well, actually, anyway. So let's say I want to get, let's just say 694. Ah, yeah, I'm not used to these knobs. Well, there we go. Yeah, finally got it. There's one thing with iOS, the way different synths knobs work in different ways. So with theirs, it's like this. When you go up and down, when you go on the vertical axis, it is kind of coarse. And then when you go left to right, you have the fine one. So that's why I wasn't getting it there. So let's say I want to go to, I don't know, say 691. Okay, I drag to the right. Sorry, I'm just switching over from the mouse here. And then I have 691, right? If you tap, okay, what would be nice here is if you could tap on these and tap in a value. I would actually really like that. Like, for example, tap delay does. It allows you to click on something and tap in a value. Okay. The main thing for me here, the interesting thing, but the thing that is a bit difficult to get your head around, is exactly this routing section. It's very interesting, but it's something that, you know, I just got this today, and I think this routing section is something that I personally need to explore a lot more before I can really fully understand how to use the routing to get the kind of sounds that I want, or even to kind of understand exactly what's going on with a preset. I really need to spend more time with this routing section, and I think that probably most people coming to this app would. But, you know, that's enjoyable for me. I don't really want to get something that I can just use immediately, because if I can, then it means that it's probably not really doing anything very new. So deep tools take time, like, for example, things like Fundamental, the app I recently reviewed by Sonic Lab. That was a few days of pretty hardcore experimentation to get to the point where I kind of understood it. Then here, the best thing about this really is the sequence delay, the ability to adjust everything individually, levels, pans, cutoffs, resonances, and getting control over which taps are activated and which are not, and being able to, as I say, play those in real time. Those are really cool features. I think you could hear from the presets that I ran through at the beginning that this can sound good on a lot of different sounds, a lot of different genres, techno and things like that, definitely, but also ambient and basically anything, I think. I'd really like to see some people like Spider, for example, who I mentioned earlier, who are really used to dealing with iGear synths, or Sam Israel doing some preset banks for this. That would be cool. But with delay, generally, it's also something that it's something you really want to learn to program yourself and not rely too much on presets, I think, because you're going to just have to find what's going to work with the song you're trying to fit it into. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, and I hope you're doing well. All right, thanks. Bye.